Hey, I wanted to make a video regarding when you should build rapport or not build rapport, and it's going to come at different stages. I don't want anybody to overthink how the whole game works. There are people that are doing well and consistently doing well, and you can follow the recipe. And when you grab a cookbook from the world's most famous chef and cook your favorite dish, you don't go in there and say, well, he says to use 2 tablespoons of salt in this dish. I think I'm just going to go ahead and do 3 because I like salt a lot. You know what I mean? You just follow that. You just follow the recipe. You don't need to think much about it. You don't have to insert your opinion. Obviously, we don't want to have a person be really robotic, but I'll just tell you that being a little robotic might be a little better than not following the process. And it does not need to be overthought or delved into with opinions or insertions of ideas when the result hasn't been obtained. If the result's been obtained in a very above average level, the only good thing about actually having somebody to compare to determine whether or not the number's average is that okay, this guy's been here 2 weeks, has no background, and is doing really well or doing decent compared to everyone else. And if I follow something that guy's doing, it would probably be better than what my results are. But I would say study the 1% or study the top percentage, top 10%. But really, you could study the top 1%. The only problem with sometimes the top 1% that you'll run into is that what they do isn't always duplicatable. You're not always able to understand what they do well because they may not even be able to communicate to you what they've done, because sometimes they're such a good producer, they're such a top level producer that their ability to communicate that into another person isn't always there. So sometimes we've got a person who could be a top producer if that's all they ever focused on, but because they might have been a very, very good producer and then became a great team leader because of their ability to duplicate that into another person, that's when you see that situation. And if that person has helped other people be successful and get average to above average results, and you're not getting those results yet, then I look at it like a ladder. What data can I take away here that would allow me to climb that ladder? And then I'm telling you, man, that is so important when it comes to, you've got a book in your hand, and if you read that book, that recipe book, you're going to get the result you want to obtain. And if you haven't gotten the results consistently, then you got to ask yourself, what am I doing that's not working? What am I doing that's not working? And the main thing that we do is we read from a recipe. We just call that recipe a script. And that's why it's important literally any human being that can inject a little bit of life into a conversation, any human being that can do that,